We are here at the offices of G. George Associates in Bounce Green to conduct an interview with Philip Onissiphorou to give our community a professional insight into the new legislation in accounting that is coming into effect in April 2026. Hello Philip, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Bubbles, and thank you very much for the introduction this afternoon. I'm very well. I'm a practicing accountant. I qualified as an accountant back in 1998. So I've got over 30 years experience as a professional accountant.
That's very good. When was G. George Associates established? I remember the inauguration by the First Lady of Cyprus, Ms. Elsie Christofias. But I cannot remember the year.
Right, quite some time ago. But yes, G. George Associates was established back in 1982 by a gentleman called Yorgos Georgiou, who I think you know.
Yeah.
And from where the company has taken its name, yes. John Muskis joined Yorgos back in 1987. I joined the practice as a director in 2005, and Mr. Krishna Kaki joined as a director in 2016. We moved to our current offices here in Bounce Green in 2009, where we had a welcoming event for our clients and associates, and our guest of honour was Mrs. Elsie Christofias.
Yeah, it was very nice actually. It was very nice and very impressive.
Yeah, it was a thoroughly enjoyable evening.
Yes, everybody enjoyed it. I was here, like I said, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Good, I'm glad to hear that.
What kind of accounting services do you provide? Is there anything in particular that you are specializing in, like wills, like sorting out,
Certainly, yes. Well, we assist clients with all types of individual and company compliance. So a lot of your readers will be familiar with tax returns, company accounts and business tax, management accounts, auditing, so giving an opinion on a set of accounts. We do payroll, we do company secretarial, so filings at company's house, and we do simple probate. Okay. We also assist our clients with all types of tax planning. So if you transfer a property in your own name to a limited company, you need to consider things like capital gains tax and stamp duty, and also refinance options. Okay. If you buy a commercial property, for example, you will have to consider stamp duty and also VAT implications. When you get to a certain age, you've got to be thinking about disposing of your assets or transferring your assets to your children, so to avoid inheritance tax. And finally, if you've got a profitable company, you need to consider options on how to take that money out of the company. So we've got things like income distributions, capital distributions, and possibly transferring some of that property to an investment company.
So you provide a wide range of services.
That's right, yes. And just to finish as well, we do business advisory, quite a lot of business advisory, so property and trade, finance and refinance. We look at things like that. We valuation and selling of companies and assets, company restructuring in the cases of demergers or where we've got owners leaving a business, and selecting suitable accounting software packages for our clients.
Having been established for so long, I'm sure you have acquired a wide-ranging clientele. How have your Cypriot clients developed their business affairs over the years? Will a lot of them be affected by the upcoming changes?
Well, yeah, very good question, Bumbles. Yes. I mean, obviously the Cypriot community has been established in this country for many years, certainly since post-war. Our first generation Cypriot clients were mainly involved in the following businesses: clothing manufacture and retail, which you know very well. Obviously catering, restaurants, cafes, fish and chips, independent grocers. The first generation were also involved in building services, the landlord business. They were tailors, they were hairdressers, they were car mechanics. Today, our second and third generation Cypriot clients operate in different industries, partly down to better education and advances in technology. Okay, so we're seeing a lot of clients still in the property business. Okay, they're estate agents, they manage property, they're building contractors. A lot of them are in property investment and rental. We've got property development as well, and property supply chain businesses like kitchen installation, bathroom installation, heating, plumbing, and electrical contractors. Okay. We've also got quite a lot of professional clients here at G. George Associates. So we've got IT professionals, we've got doctors, architects, solicitors, dentists, people in financial services and insurance. Okay. Other businesses we've got is, I mentioned IT professionals, so IT support and cyber security. I mean, that seems to be very popular at the moment, cyber security. Organisations need to tighten up on their security there. And more recently, what we're seeing is a move into digital content creation and influencers on social media platforms. Okay, finally, a lot of self-employed people and landlords will be affected by the upcoming changes.
Yes, is the next question that I'm going to ask. Can you explain to us what MTD is all about and who will be affected by it?
Yeah, okay. MTD is that's an acronym for Making Tax Digital for Income Tax. Okay, and this will apply to self-employed people and landlords with a total business turnover and rental turnover of more than £50,000 from April 26. Okay, now that turnover figure is going to go down to £30,000 from April 27, and will go down to £20,000 from April 28. Okay, now, so from the 6th of April, so at the moment, what we've got at the moment, if we take the tax year 24-25, okay, which ends on the 5th of April 25, you've got to submit a tax return by the 31st of Jan 26 and pay any tax 31st Jan 26, and you've got to make a further payment in July 26. Okay, yes. So that's the system at the moment. It's just one communication to HMRC if you're a self-employed person or if you receive rental income in your own name. So from April 26, okay, if your combined income, okay, let's say for example you're self-employed and you are a landlord, we're looking at combined income, okay, and it will be based on your tax affairs for 24-25. Okay, so you'll receive a communication from the revenue and they'll say, right, you fall within the regime of MTD, and the idea is you have to do quarterly submissions. So April, May and June of next year, you've got to report your income and expenses if you're self-employed, together with your income and expenses if you are a private landlord, okay? So we've got April, May and June. Then we go to July, August, September. What we're doing there, we're reporting the income and the expenses for 6 months, okay, from April to September. Okay, so that's the second communication. Then we've got the next 3 months, okay, and then the last so the next 3 months and then the last 3 months. Okay, so there's 4 communications. Okay, you can make changes at any time in those 4 communications, and then you've basically got to report that information on a tax return together with any other income by the 31st of Jan 27. All right, so there's a lot more communications to HMRC. You've got to use MTD compliant software, and you've got to maintain digital records. Okay, so certainly more visits to your accountant. Okay, now there are certain exemptions as well. Obviously, a lot of people, for example, will be concerned about this new legislation, but I understand that you can apply for exemptions if you cannot use a computer because of your age, your health, a disability, or another reason. Okay, so yeah.
So to make it clear,
yes,
you're only going to pay tax twice a year like it used to be before.
Yeah, so
you're not going to pay in interim tax like if it's every 3 months that you produce the account.
At the moment, it's quarterly submissions followed by a final tax return. The payments will still be made in January and July. Okay. However, I don't quite know what the government's agenda is. There's a possibility that there could be quarterly payments going forward. Okay.
Will limited companies also be affected by this new legislation?
Limited companies will not be affected by MTD for now, okay, but it's likely that the HMRC will introduce similar rules for companies at a later date. So at the moment, if you're a limited company, you're not affected by these new rules.
Philip, why do you believe the government has decided to take this particular approach, sometimes it's always a reason.
Yes.
What do you really
Yeah,
think?
most definitely. Yes. I mean, obviously, I mean, the government have been talking about MTD for the last 10 years, but they've put back introducing it on many occasions. Now, what the government are suggesting, they're basically saying it will improve accuracy of the figures reported to HMRC. So obviously, if you're reporting more frequently, then obviously the figures will be more accurate. Secondly, better tax planning for the individual. So obviously, if you're reporting your income, if you know what your income and expenses are on a quarterly basis, and you know what your profit is, then you've got a clearer view of what the tax might be when it's due, and obviously that will assist you with cash flow management. And finally, we have something called a tax gap in this country. The tax gap is what the government expect the tax revenues to be, and what the tax revenues are. Okay, and the tax gap in this country is currently £50 billion. Okay,
A lot of money.
A lot of money. Okay, and small and medium-sized businesses make up a large amount of that tax gap.
That 50.
Exactly. So maybe by introducing MTD, the tax gap will reduce. Okay. Obviously, as you know, this country's got a lot of spend, and how do we pay the spend? We either borrow money or we increase taxes. Okay. So if we can be more efficient in collecting the taxes, maybe that will assist with covering our expenses. Yeah.
It appears that this is creating a lot of extra work for landlords. What do you believe to be the end game here, and obviously for accountants as well? I mean, you answered part of this question earlier on.
I have. I think the end game for the government is to reduce the tax cap, and possibly, as I mentioned previously, to with time, maybe introduce quarterly payments as well. So obviously, the government will be receiving their tax revenues more often, every 3 months rather than twice a year. Yes, and as far as accountants are concerned, obviously we've given this quite a bit of thought. For example, obviously there's going to be more visits from clients, so obviously we need to find suitable software packages for them to report their income and expenses. They can do it themselves, or if they can't do it themselves, obviously we can assist them with that. But obviously pricing is important as well, for the taxpayer, and also the accountancy fees, pricing. And also for the accountant as well.
And lastly, all this work, the extra work,
yes,
will artificial intelligence help?
Artificial intelligence, well, we've heard that phrase on many occasions. Certainly with the compliance work, obviously preparing financial statements and things like that, but hopefully, I mean, as far as business advisory is concerned and tax planning, I think it's always best if you hear that from an individual, not a computer, okay? And that's where we come into play.
Is the best contact is a personal contact?
Yeah, most definitely, yes. I mean, accounting is, one thing I've learned over the years, that accounting is more about people than numbers. Okay, so people feel confident speaking to professionals, getting things in writing so they can make informed decisions. Yeah?
Even though you deal with a lot of numbers.
We deal with a lot of numbers, but as you come to the end of your career, dealing with people, having business relationships is very important.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Most definitely, yes.
Anyway, Philip, I would like to thank you for your time and effort, and you give us a lot of things that I'm sure it would be of interest to our readers, because this new legislation that is coming into effect, it will affect a lot of Cypriots.
Yeah, most definitely. Yes, it certainly will be. Yes. Anybody self-employed or receiving rental income in their own name needs to, they need to think about this. They need to speak to their accountants and find out how it's going to affect them.
Well, once again, I would like to thank you, and thank you very much for your time and for your hospitality.
You're very welcome, Bambos, and thank you for your time as well.